Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Influential Women Podcast. I have Miss Barb Huber here today. She is the fire chief of Pueblo County, yes?
City of Pueblo.
City of Pueblo. I knew I was going to butcher that, but welcome. I am so excited to have you here today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So, just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Ooh, let me see. Introspection moment, right?
Right? Yeah, absolutely. And you look so nice. I love your outfit.
Thank you. Yeah, I have an event tonight.
Okay.
On my days off, not so fancy.
Okay.
So that's one thing about me. I like to just grunge out on my days off. But I have two daughters. They're a big part of my life. They're very influential for me. I love what I do. I've loved what I've done for 25 years. So it's excellent to love your job. And you seem like you love your job. So I think you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
But
25 years you've been in the firefighting business.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And you're saving lives every day. I mean, I'm sure there's not one day that's the same.
No, they're really not, and it's like everything, your day kind of is dictated by how you show up, what's your attitude when you walk through the door. And from there, it can go up or down. But most of the times you're excited about being at work. So the days go really well.
That's awesome. And do you think that your attitude, because you seem very positive, has got you to where you are today?
I think so. I think a person who knows to persevere and learn from things and not view it negatively, but push through and see the light at the end of the tunnel is an important part to growth and success.
Absolutely. And you're here, on the Influential Women podcast. Who's been, an influential person in your life?
Oh, I'd have to start with my daughters. They teach you that it isn't all about you, and that perspectives can come from somebody a lot younger than you who can teach you a great deal. They have a much better education than I did. They have much better perspective than I do. So when they offer me advice, I love to hear it.
So you actually listen to your daughter's advice.
I do now.
It's crazy because I have this quote in our house. I have 3 kiddos, and it says something along the lines like, while we think we're teaching our children, they're the ones teaching us. Because I feel like they almost make us take a step back and realize what's important, what do we value, what do we, what are all the things that we're trying to teach them, but really they're teaching us all the lessons, like not to be selfish and, all the different things. I don't know. I have that quote in our house, and I loved it when I read it.
Yeah, no, that's an insightful thing to have, especially when your kids are little. I think we take for granted those wonderful moments, and then they're gone, and you're like, I didn't enjoy that as best as I could have.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit more about your daughters.
I don't know what I would. One is 30, and she works for a library district, and the other is 28, and she works from home with a medical agency doing reports. But I think what I appreciate most is their ability to see through things and see things and explain it in a way that is unoffensive. Mm-hmm. They have a way of approaching things that is very balanced.
I love that, because not everybody has that gift.
No, it's sometimes it's hard not to take emotion into things, but they make good arguments, and I envy that, because sometimes I don't feel like I have that as a strength, but more as a weakness, is like coming at it from a very balanced standpoint of why you feel like you feel in a certain situation. They can explain it very well.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you from here in Pueblo?
No, I'm not. I'm from the East Coast.
You're from the East Coast? Mm-hmm. What part?
Connecticut.
Okay. And what brought you out here to Pueblo?
The military, but have you been in the weather in Connecticut and you've been in the weather in Colorado? There's no comparing the two.
Right.
You don't go back. You go and visit, especially in the fall, but
we have 300 days of sunshine.
Yes, it's beautiful.
So did you grow up until, because the next question usually is like, what high school did you graduate from? But that's not your case because you didn't graduate from here.
No, I'm not part of the rivalry here in Pueblo, so.
That's okay. And I'm sure you hate that question too because you're always like, well, first of all, I'm not from Pueblo, so don't ask me the next question.
That would have been the first time somebody asked me which high school I went to.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. And so have you been in Pueblo for your whole career of 25 years?
As a firefighter, yes.
Yes. Okay. So did you do your, like all of your trainings and whatnot here?
Yes.
Ah.
I did. I joined Pueblo in '97, and then I did a short stint in Colorado Springs right in that first year. Liked Pueblo better, so I came back.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. And what's it like? Like, are you in need of more firefighters right now, or where are you at as a department?
So we do have some attrition going on. So we have like regular openings from retirements and things like that. So we are hiring 5 in April.
Okay.
And the promotions that are upcoming are going to create some more openings. So maybe by the end of the year, we hope to have more people hired. And also we put in for a staff assistance grant that we're hoping to hire 9 new firefighters because we want to put a brand new additional fire station on the west side, the northwest side. So we're going to need personnel to staff that. So that's exciting.
That is awesome. I hope you get that grant.
Yes, me too. That would help the city out a lot. I think it's like $3 million worth. So that would be wonderful. And we're excited about Pikes Peak Park going in and being in that community. So
Pikes Peak?
Pikes Peak Park is the new park that Neighbor Works is putting in up on 24th Street. And our fire station is going to be right in there.
Oh, I know. I was showing houses the other day, and I was driving right towards the one off a lake. Man, that's such a beautiful firehouse. It's so, and I did Leadership Pueblo too one year, and we toured it, and it's a beautiful facility.
It is. It's enormous. That's a little bit bigger than the ones we're looking at building right now. But when we build Station 1s, it's going to have to be fairly big because there's multiple units that go out of that station.
And you're the fire chief, yes?
Yes.
So do you travel around all of the different stations, or how does that work?
So I do have an office out of Belmont.
I know it's a silly question, but I just don't know.
No, it's a great question because a lot of people ask, what station are you at? But I do visit the stations and see the crews occasionally. But I do have an office up in Belmont that is attached to Station 8s, but they're separated.
Okay. Okay. And what made you want to become a firefighter?
One, the excitement, the adrenaline, the physical with the mental challenges, all of that, helping people. It was a culmination of like everything you want to do into one nice little package.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And I heard a police officer say one time, actually during the Leadership Pueblo class, like, if you want to be liked, be a firefighter. If you don't want to be liked, become a cop. Is that true? Have you heard that saying?
I have a different analogy, but I think they can relate to it.
Okay.
If you were to put us in the dog world, we're Labradors and they're German Shepherds. And everybody sees a Labrador and goes, "Oh, nice dog."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
that's a good analogy. I like that one.
I'll leave it at that.
How did you get to where you are today? I mean, to be fire chief, first of all, there's not a lot of women. What's the percentage of women in the Pueblo community that are firefighters?
4%.
I was going to guess 5. So, yeah.
Yep.
And you're part of that 4%. How is that 4% able to get where you are today? Like, what did you have to do to be in the position you are? Because it's just incredible. It truly is. And I know it didn't come without, a lot of hard work and perseverance and all that.
Well, it's a good question. With any successes, you don't just get there. There are people that cultivate you your whole life. My parents, their support, family support, good mentors along the way who know how to nudge you along and say, don't do it this way, do it that way. People who give you enough trust or choke chain, if you will, to let the leash out a little bit and then pull you back and say, okay, you're doing good. But, guidance, the people who are there to guide you, the people who are patient with you and just can see, but they have a nice way of delivering the message, what you're doing wrong and bringing you along. But yeah, it does take hard work. You have to put your head down. You have to bounce back when the answer is no. I think hearing no at the time, it could probably hurt, but a lot of times things work out the way they're supposed to. And
Amen.
So you just have to trust that if you try hard, you're going to get to where you're going. And it actually was never a goal to be fire chief. I mean, I was on the assistant chief's list. I was on the deputy chief's list. This opportunity was just a timing thing, like so many things in life.
I love it. And so is it something you have to apply for, or is it something you're nominated for? I'm sorry, because I'm not from, this
No,
whole
it's-
industry, so I don't know how it all works out.
It's a good question because, yes, you do have to apply for it like other jobs. And like anything, depending on how they put the job out, if it's a national search, if it's a local search, how they do it, can raise or lower the level of competition. Are you competing with people you've always competed with? Are you competing with new people? And what is whoever's doing the hiring, what are they looking for? And are you that fit?
Got you. And you are the perfect fit. Well, if we were drinking wine, I'd toast you and just say congratulations.
Thank you.
Because, I mean, you are setting an example for so many men and women out there. I mean, for women to want to be in that field, what advice would you give to them?
Prepare, always every day, try to prepare for what they're going to ask you to do. If there's a physical agility test, you can't start the day before the test. You have to prepare. If there's a written test, take practice tests. If there's a promotional exam, set time aside to study. You have to do your part, and then ask the people around you for help when you actually realize it's a weakness. Hey, help me with this. It's okay to say, I don't know.
It's okay to say I need help.
Yep, it's okay.
That's the only way you get better, right?
That's right. You got to be honest with yourself first. Mm-hmm. And then I think it gets easier from there.
What's one of the best stories and maybe most tragic stories that you have been involved in, in your career?
That's a tough question. I think the best story is, it's kind of a simple one. Walking out of my office, and a little girl was going to the park right behind the office, and the dad came up and he introduced her to me and said, "This is the fire chief." And she looked at me and she goes, "I want to work for you someday."
Oh, yes, I love
It
it.
was adorable. And then the most tragic stories, I think, is the painful situation sometimes you're put in of feeling like you're taking away people's options because you seem to know what's best for them. So like on an emergency call when somebody doesn't want to leave their home but they need a medical attention and you have to convince them otherwise. Sometimes that you can tell in that person's eyes that they know they're just not going to come home, and it's heartbreaking. So that's probably one of the hardest things, is dealing with the emotions of where somebody else is coming from.
And I have some friends in the field, and it seems like their fire it's almost like their family.
It is.
Like it's a whole like brotherhood, sisterhood, however you want to call it. Like it's just a deep connection that y'all have when working together, where you may not get that like working here because it's a, an 8 to 5 job. And yes, we're a family, but it's just, I feel like another level of togetherness.
No, that captures it very well. I think living together establishes that. It's your home away from home. You're there 24 hours a day. You plan your meals, you plan your downtime, you plan what you're going to watch on TV, you have the same arguments. So
Yeah,
it's very much like family.
absolutely. And are you like, did you used to help cook, or like, did you always, like, what was one of your favorite things about when you lived in the firehouse? Because now you don't get to, right? When you're the fire chief, you don't live in the,
No.
Okay.
You're
In the
right.
station.
Yeah, I don't live in the station anymore, but I think if you were to survey every fire station in the United States, you'd find that kitchen table is magical. And we can sit there and we can solve the world's problems with however many crew members are there right then and there. Whether or not we're right or wrong, the conversations at that kitchen table are amazing.
That's so interesting.
Yes.
And how many crew members do you have on your staff?
In a given fire station?
No, I guess just within the whole community.
So this year our numbers are going to go up, but we're going to be able to have up to 148 that are staffed to the fire department.
Wow. Okay.
And with that, the numbers are changing, so I'm trying to do the math in my head quick, but I believe 8 are office staff, but the rest are line personnel.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. And now I want to get to know you a little bit more.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, she says.
Uh-oh, this is personal.
No, it's not at all. So what do you do for yourself outside of the station and work and all of that? What do you do for fun?
Well, I love the outdoors. So time spent outdoors, biking, hiking, kayaking.
I can tell you're fit, so you do a lot of physical activity, and you have to for your job, right?
I try to stay fit. I mean, Esther, my muffin top, she demands food.
And we all have a little muffin top, right?
Yeah, but you have to indulge her, right? That's
Yep.
part of
Life.
something I do. You know, popcorn and movies is a great thing. So, but yeah, I do enjoy the outdoors. I enjoy television, you know, just unwinding to a good movie with a bowl of popcorn also. You know, there's got to be downtime. You know, it's a balance.
What's your all-time favorite movie?
Ooh, I don't have an all-time favorite because it depends on the genre, you know. I mean,
Absolutely.
Bridesmaids is a great comedy.
It's fantastic.
Crimson Tide is a great, like, leadership movie on things that can go wrong or right.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's a good movie with Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington.
Oh, I love Denzel.
The Arguing the Minds. It was a good movie. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones.
But you're a movie buff, I could tell. You like movies.
I enjoy that, you know, especially going to the movies. Everything else stops, and it's just you and the movie screen.
Yeah, I sometimes we'll just get popcorn to go. Like, even if we don't go to the movies, I'm like, all right, we'll just grab a thing of popcorn from the movie house and go home because it's not the same.
I go to Taffy's just for the popcorn.
Oh, I love Taffy's popcorn. So what's one of your favorite restaurants in Pueblo?
I love the Sunset, you know, because they have good sandwiches there. And
So you feel like they have the best slopper then, too?
ooh, you know, I just did their slopper the other day. Yeah, I would have to say they have probably the best slopper.
There you have it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think of where else is some of my go-tos. Because I try to move around and just try different things. So.
And it sounds like you like Colorado because we have so many outdoor activities to do. Do you do like Pueblo a lot? Like, do you stay in Pueblo or do you like go up to the mountains to do your outdoor activities?
Yeah, I mean, kayaking at Lake Pueblo is wonderful. You know, it's peaceful, especially first thing in the morning when the water's nice and calm. To go down to San Isabel to hike, especially in the fall, that's gorgeous.
So pretty.
Yes. Go up to Colorado Springs every once in a while when my ego gets to nudging me to see if I can still do the incline. I might have to do that every once in a while. So it depends, you know.
Do you guys do annual things like with your crew members, like something like that, like go up and do the incline together or?
No.
Nope. You're like, nope, on a rope. You guys should. You should do something like an annual thing that.
I think some do.
Okay.
I think there's a group that go up for the 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
Up the incline. There's a group that does that. I wouldn't want to do it with my gear on, so kudos to them.
Right? Yeah, that's another level.
That is a whole nother level. But, you know, one year we did all the people I came on with, we did the polar plunge. Mm-hmm. That was cold.
I'm sure, but that's good. It's like a new hot thing to do right now is do the cold plunges all the time.
Have you done one? Mm-mm. It's coming up. It's coming up.
I know my husband wants to build one at the house, like just always have a little spot because we eventually want to get a pool. And he's like, I want to put a cold plunge in and do it like every day. I'm like, you go for it.
It'll keep down the arthritis.
Yeah, I guess it'll help. Do you read books? Like
I do.
Okay, what's one of your favorite books?
Malcolm Gladwell, Talking to Strangers. I like that book. I'm trying to think. I've been reading a few lately, but I've been reading a lot of books just related to my job right now, like The Gray Rhino, those kinds of things that kind of teach you about, you know, paying attention to the little things because they turn into big things, those kinds of things. I did Eleanor Roosevelt, a biography about her recently, and that was fascinating.
Oh, how neat.
Yes.
I'm sure that was a good one.
Yes. Well, just the transition she went through her whole life, you know. It's kind of fun, but Betty Davis, I was doing an audiobook about her life, and, you know, just all those turn-of-century women and how strong they were and how resilient they were and how it wasn't anybody else's fault, it was them pushing through it. They just have such good messaging through it all.
I think you need to write a book. Is that like on your bucket list?
It is not.
No?
No.
I feel like you should do that.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
I for a little while there, I was having fun with my days, and I would be like, if I was, what would I call this chapter for
Oh, yeah.
today? You know, and it
See?
would be like, keep your head down day, or go roll with the punches, or certain days have a key to them. You know, it was barrel a monkey days, where it was time to pass the barrel on to somebody else. You've been in it too long, so you try to make things a little bit fun, so that it's not always just so intense.
Absolutely. Because I can't imagine going home sometimes, like after a long shift and seeing the things that you see or have had to deal with. I'm sure that's a lot. What's one of your goals when you took on the chief position? Because how long have you been chief now?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. What are some of your goals that you want to accomplish while you're in this position?
Leave it better than I found it. And that's going to be hard because the predecessor, Sean Shelton, was the previous fire chief. He had a lot of things in motion. He had good vision, so he was a good mentor in the sense of what he put in motion. But it's my job to keep that momentum going forward, and also to bring along as many people as I can as possible, so that it's not a tough transition for them to carry it forward.
I love it. And do you have like a predecessor, like morning coffee, like at least yearly or monthly, where you get all the previous chiefs together and, you just kind of BS?
That's a neat idea. Well, unfortunately, 6 months after I took the job, COVID hit.
Oh.
So there was no coffee with anybody. But, I mean, Sean's predecessor was Dale Villers, and he was my captain at the station level. And then he was a deputy chief and then chief for a little while. And then Sean Shelton was my assistant chief, and then he was chief. And then
Oh, wow.
So, I mean,
You've worked with...
I've worked with people who, take on responsibility very, very well. And, I would say both of them were very introspective, that, they could probably speak to, bringing people along and why it's so important and how they do it and everything. But, they didn't just speak to it, they did it. And so who you're exposed to, definitely pay attention to who's bringing who along and hitch a ride, maybe.
Absolutely. What are 3 words that best describe you, Barb?
Dedicated and true.
Dedicated and true.
I say what I mean, and I do what I say.
I love it. And what's been one part of your life where you're like, I've made it. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
Definitely being a parent, is very rewarding. And then that moment when somebody turns around that you didn't even realize that you were helping them, and they say thank you. Those are those moments.
And I'm sure you get a lot of those moments.
I've had some.
You've had some, not as many as you deserve.
I don't know. I generally blame every successes on everybody's concerted efforts, so I don't pay attention on when it's me so much as what we did.
Got you. It's a team thing.
It is.
And, along many of your successes in life, you've had some roadblocks, because we don't get to where we are without, kind of like a setback. What's been one that you've learned from?
Oh, setbacks. You get passed over on different lists, whether it's getting hired and you don't make it because of the interview, or getting passed over on a promotion because you weren't the number one candidate, and you have to accept that reality. But persevering to try again and grow as an individual and say, oh, what can I do differently, or what didn't I bring to the table? Introspection can hurt like hell. Well, who was it? Katharine Hepburn, that says the truth shall set you free, but first it will piss you off. That's kind of a reality of growing as an individual. Sometimes somebody's going to tell you something and you're like, yeah, that's kind of true.
Right. But then accepting it and then moving on to the next level to better yourself.
Exactly.
I love that. Because so many people, I don't think that sometimes I think people like hold that in and they get upset and then they don't do the next thing to get better or learn from that, that setback to, make it the next beautiful chapter in their life.
Or they perceive it as mean when, depending on, I mean, for some people, if they're taking the time to tell you, maybe they're trying to help you. And trying to discern that moment.
Right. And it's not easy to become, because I've had so many friends try to get in, and you have to persevere and try again if you don't get it the first time, because usually you only have so many slots.
Right.
How many people are going through the training? I mean, it's hard. It's not an easy, profession to get into.
And it's not a you thing sometimes. It's not personal. It is the process, or there are elements of luck and timing with a lot of things, but again, then you have to ask yourself, it wasn't meant to be then, if it doesn't work out.
Everything happens for a reason.
Right.
Some people hate to hear it, but I live by it because, something greener will grow from the other side, I don't know.
That's it. Well, yeah, the optimist says that, absolutely, What's the other side of this? I'm in this right now, intensely emotionally involved in this, but maybe a year down the road, I'm better off.
And it's just hard to see it at that time.
It is.
If you could have lunch or tea or anything like that with somebody, who would it be?
Yeah, I saw this question on the list, and I'm like, that's a tough question. I think I would still want to sit down with Eleanor Roosevelt.
You like her, don't you?
I do, because she was very progressive, even as an individual and introspectively. But what she did as part of helping society and the community, I mean, we need that kind of vision and that drive. And she had a lot more drive than I did, even at, I think she was still in her 70s and pushing hard.
Oh, wow. So what did she do? Like, what was she doing in the community that...
Well, she recognized the effects that inequality has on society, and that we have to create an even playing field for people to succeed. And she was just a proponent for a lot of those programs.
Do you feel like there's an even playing field now?
I'd like to think that we know that there's not, and that's the first step. But how do we get everybody there is a very complicated solution. And, I think our own awareness of hidden biases and stereotypes and assumptions that we make about people is a dangerous thing to not be aware of. So as soon as we grow as an individual and say, okay, am I being fair about my assessment here? Then we can go towards, root causes and solutions.
Okay. I love that, because, that's great advice for any profession, too, because you have to look at yourself first.
Yeah, well, how am I not understanding the true problem? And that's complicated, because I can't get that from myself. I have to go out and ask the question a lot of times, and sometimes I might not even understand the answer I get. So I'll need help with that, too.
What's a song that, like, either is like your jam or kind of describes you, or it's just like that one song you're like...
Gets me spiced up.
Yep,
It would have to be Pat Benatar.
Ooh, which song?
All Fired Up, of course.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Of course.
That makes total sense. I love it.
Yep.
And you rock out to it? Do you guys rock out at the stations? And
I'm sure some of them do. We've
Yeah.
got a couple bands out there and everything, so I'm pretty sure that music's a big part of some of the stations.
Oh, that is so cool. Oh, I love it. You know what else I love is when they do the touch a truck events, and then I've taken my kids to a couple, and they get to go inside the fire. Like, those things are cool.
Yes.
I cannot imagine the training it takes to run one of those.
We do. That's probably the most significant amount of time we spend on training, especially in the academy, is because that is a humongous level of responsibilities, putting somebody behind a truck that weighs that much and driving through red lights and things. So it is absolutely something we focus on as far as safety and proficiency.
What was your childhood like
My child
in Connecticut?
in Connecticut. Well, there was woods and leaves and cutting down trees for the fireplace, but it was good. I have two sisters, one older, one younger, and we had family there. So, Sunday was Sunday dinner. And I wasn't a sports player, but, we played kickball in the neighborhood all the time. So it was a typical, simple kid's life of hide and seek and kickball and getting in trouble and
I love it.
all that fun stuff.
And what traditions have you started with your girls?
Trying to think of some of our traditions. Well, we do enjoy Mardi Gras and having a dinner, for Mardi Gras. Pretty much.
Do you make a king cake?
No, we try to find out. We usually go out to a restaurant and
Okay.
and whoever gets the baby,
Yeah.
So, but there's no unique tradition. I mean, we just always get together for the holidays. We always make time to sit down and have a meal and then play some vicious card games and yell at each other. So.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
What kind of card games do you play?
There's a game called Wizard. We play that one, and that one's a lot of fun. I think it's definitely not for the thin skin when it gets vicious. We start yelling at each other, but it's all in good fun.
I love it.
Yep.
And what's on your bucket list? Like what, outside of the station and your profession, what are some of your goals and dreams that you still want to accomplish?
Ooh. If a short term, I'll probably do another 14er this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many have you done?
Only 2, but one I did twice.
That's okay.
Yeah. Those are a lot of work, and you definitely got to work up to them and just finding the time for that. But
you got to just schedule it. Put it on the calendar. This is the 14er, the 14er I'm doing, and I'm doing it on this day, and just go for it.
I think I'd like to see the Northern Lights at some point, maybe in a Norwegian country.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. And, maybe just hit each continent at some point.
Oh, that would be cool. Kind of just do like around the world travel kind of expedition.
Yeah, exactly. Just take the time to enjoy some of the wonders of the world.
Oh, that would be neat. I love that. I'm going to put that on my list.
Put it on your
I haven't
list.
put all the continents. I mean, I have certain places I
Be
definitely.
like, Jenny, what are you doing here, too?
You're right. I'll see you there.
How did
Let's
you
go.
get here?
Yeah. And definitely the Northern Lights. I mean, that would be super neat to see. What's your favorite color?
Red.
Oh, good. I guessed your favorite color right.
That's
Okay.
right.
Yep.
Fire, right?
All the red. My friend just built a house, and we went there this weekend, and in her bathroom she had a little fire hydrant and then like a piece of grass with a little Dalmatian laying by. It was the cutest theme. It was like a dog themed bathroom, and I'm like, you would have appreciated that that's how you should decorate all the station bathrooms. It was
That's
so
right.
cute.
This is the outhouse.
And my kids and I, we play slug bugs
Okay.
and we play flags. Like, you have to find flags.
Oh, really?
Because they're little. I mean, just something to do in the car so they're not picking on each other. And then we play fire hydrants.
Oh, really?
Do you know how many fire hydrants there are?
There are a lot.
Oh, so you don't know the number. There are a lot, though, but we play the fire hydrant game.
Okay, so the fire hydrants have different colors.
Oh, okay. Teach me something new.
So downtown, you're going to notice a lot of them are light blue.
Okay.
So that's the highest pressure we have out there. That's over 1,500 gallons a minute. The green ones, they're next level down, but they go up to 1,500. They're about 1,000 to 1,499. So, and then there's red and there's orange. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Not as high. See, I never knew there was.
Yeah, so those are part of a code, and they're color coded. So we know how much water pressure is at that hydrant when we pull it up.
Oh. What else is like some kind of secret code
thing
that
to
maybe we wouldn't know, us outsiders?
I don't know. I got to think about that.
That's hard.
Might have to go offline on that one.
I could edit it out. It's not a big deal.
No. Well, we have access to buildings, and those buildings have a special box on them
Okay.
that only the fire department has the key to.
Oh.
That allows us to get in without breaking the doors.
Is it just like one magic key that can get you into all of them, or is it like you have to have a key?
So
Okay.
for us to change the key, for them to say, hey, we changed the keys, they got to call us, and we got to go change the keys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So interesting.
little secrets.
After a long day, like, what do you do to decompress? You said watch a movie and popcorn. Is there anything else?
I do.
Do you drink like a glass of wine or?
Yeah, and any given day, there could be a good glass of wine involved
Okay.
or a nice drink.
Well, yeah, what's your drink of choice? That's what I was getting to.
Okay, so if I had to unwind and I had a drink of choice that I knew was a go-to, it'd be an amaretto on the rocks.
Ooh, very smooth.
Yeah, it is. It's a little sweet too, so it puts a little sweetness back in me so I could get back up and be nice.
Oh, you're funny. And what's something that just always makes you laugh? Like, is it a joke? Is it a memory? 'Cause you got a great laugh on you. You always need to be laughing.
Right. I do appreciate a good joke. Even a bad pun is good, but I think I appreciate the person who brings a good joke, even though the environment could be like tense. Council member Ed Brown, right?
Yeah.
He was a firefighter before he was a councilman.
Really?
Yes. And I worked with him. He was a captain. And he always had the dad jokes.
The dumb dad jokes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're like, I like that. That's the dumbest joke ever, but I like that. So then I always felt like I had to be prepared at city council to have a joke for it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So do you have to do all the council meetings and all of that too?
Have to. I don't think I have to.
Okay.
But I choose to. I like to be informed and see what's coming up. We're not silos, in the sense of like you think the fire department just does fire department stuff, but it's interesting in this position how much we have to know what everybody else is doing because it impacts us.
Absolutely.
If the city buys a piece of land, well, that's a little bit further that we have to respond, so it impacts us. So being aware of the changes that are going on, if a new business is opening, what kind of business, what are the hazards? It takes me down a rabbit hole that we probably don't want to talk about on a podcast, but anyway, it just keeps me informed, and I just like to see the dynamics of what's going on.
That makes sense. I love it. So are you involved in anything outside of, fire? Like, are you involved in anything in the community?
I haven't been a terrible community partner in the sense that I am a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Zebulon Pike chapter. Mm-hmm. I haven't been very good about going to meetings because
you've been busy.
It's been very busy, and I was an American Red Cross volunteer, so I still keep it active and tuck it under my fire jacket because I really enjoy doing the smoke detector installs, and when they have a big push in the area and stuff. Going into people's homes, talking to people, and that small $7 piece of equipment that keeps everybody's life so much safer.
And isn't it required to?
It's required in new construction, but I mean,
Okay.
Pueblo's an old town. There are some old homes out there, and whether or not they're up to code and have the number of detectors they need.
Oh, making sure they're up to code. So that's a huge safety thing that we could all be aware of, making sure that we have, the right amount of
or even a working smoking detector
work.
will make a big difference. I mean, because they go off so soon. Because the materials nowadays they burn up so fast that you barely have enough time to get out.
And it's there's nothing worse than when the battery's going dead and it's beeping and you don't know which one it is.
And it's never in the middle of the day.
Right, no.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right, why does that happen?
I think there's a sensor on there that can feel when you fall dead asleep, and then it says now's the time.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, really? Right now? Then you got to go get the ladder, because I can't.
Well, and then you look like that crazy person with your head cocked going, this one?
Yeah, right. Which one is it? And you're like standing by all of them?
Then you hear it off in the distance. You go over there, and it sounds like it was just where you came from, and you're like, I can't find it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. See, that's a game for your kids to play.
Oh.
Find the detector.
They'll be like it seriously went off last week, and they're like, what's that noise? I'm like, oh, we got to go find which one it is. Got to be quiet. And then you have to wait. So you're like seriously standing there like,
So do you know the difference between the chirps?
No.
Okay, so there's 4 different kinds of chirps.
Oh.
So 4 fast chirps is CO. So if you have a combination detector or CO detector, it goes beep, 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 beep. CO.
Okay.
Beep, beep, beep. The smoke detector actually activating. 2 chirps, like chirp, chirp.
Yep.
That means it's the end of the detector. You got to go to the store and get yourself a new one.
Okay.
And then the 1 chirp, chirp.
Battery.
That's
the battery one.
Yep.
Okay.
So
that is so good to
have
know.
a meaning, yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's funny because, people call and say, hey, my smoke detector's going off. Well, what's it doing specifically? Well, it goes chirp. Okay, that's not a fire, so you're good. But
And what, on average, how many calls do y'all service a day per station?
our call volume is up, and I would say right now we're averaging 75 calls a day. So with 9 stations in the city, that's okay. What's the math?
That's crazy.
Six.
Don't make me do math. We're not doing math right now.
8,
Right.
8 per station, but some have more than others depending on their territory.
Gotcha.
And on any given day, it goes back to the barrel of monkeys. On any given day, it's your turn in the barrel. For some reason, you're the busy district. So, and that happens on any given day also.
Gotcha. So you don't have one, station that's busier than.
Well, in case Station 8 or Station 3 are listening, either one of them will tell you they're the busiest.
Okay. Where are they located?
So Station 3 is in the Junction,
Okay.
and Station 8 is in Belmont.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
And what's something that, most people don't know about you? Maybe your daughters know.
Ooh, maybe I don't know. Well, my immediate family would know, but I played guitar for a lot of years.
Really?
Yeah, but not a lot of people know that.
Did you why did you get, into the guitar? Were you part of a band, or is it just something you were passionate about?
No, when I was young, I was probably 4th grade when my mom started letting me take lessons, and I did it probably through freshman year of college. But then, life gets busy, and that was the end of that. But it was something I enjoyed unwinding to.
Super cool. So no desire to pick it back up?
No.
Nope, on a rope?
I mean, occasionally I think, I wonder if I still can, and then I pick it up and I go, I don't have the time to dedicate to where I want to be with this. So
if you're going to do it, you're going to do it right. You're not just going to play
right. Disappoint myself because I don't play for anybody but me. So it's a very selfish thing.
What side of town do you live on?
North side.
You're a North Sider. Mm-hmm. Okay, so is my mom.
Oh, is she? She's up there?
And my grandma, so I'm on the north side a lot. I don't know why I asked you that. I was just curious. That's maybe too much information. Yeah. Okay, never mind. And do you have dogs, cat, a Dalmatian? What do you...
So I have 2 cats that live in the house with my spouse and I. And then we have 2 dogs that we share custody with my youngest daughter.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, like recently we had a bunch of company. Well, I have one dog that... And any given day, you just don't know how she's going to be. So it's easier to put her with the ones she trusts.
Okay.
So.
And 2 cats?
2 cats.
What are their names?
Charlie and Baby. Charlie's my cat dog.
Okay. Yeah. Cat. More like a dog,
yeah,
but.
Exactly. Oh. He'll walk around the hood with you. And
do they go to work with you like this and sleep in the podcast while you're.
I do envy that, but no, mine are too much high needs. I think I've trained them wrong. So.
You're funny. So you're an animal person. What else do we need to know? And you like to be called Barb, not just Barbara, but Barb.
Barbara sounds very official.
Yeah.
And
I started calling you Barb right away. I'm like, oh, I hope that's okay. Like, I hope that's not like she's not taking offense to it.
You could call me a lot of things that I wouldn't be offended.
Oh, okay.
No. What was the last question?
Well, what else do people need to know about you? What's unique about you?
I think I communicate backwards.
You communicate backwards.
I think so. I think a lot of people go, whatever I do, I think they go the opposite way. So a lot of times I have to press pause and think about how I'm explaining something and back up. So I think I start here instead of here. So
do you go big picture first instead of the small steps to get there, or?
I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, maybe I think everybody's in my brain and they already know where I am.
Right. And you're like, focus.
It's kind of fun because, I will have conversations sometimes, and there was an ironic thing this week where we had interviews for one thing and interviews for another thing, and I had called an HR analyst and said, hey, so what's going on with blah, blah, blah? And they're like, oh, your senses must have been tingling because I was just going to call you. And we were actually talking about 2 different things. And I said, well, aren't you in my head? I just assumed you knew which. And she's like, well, can we go back to my head? So it's kind of fun that way when you realize I got to slow down a little bit and make sure that I put it in context before I start talking about it.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, I think a lot of us are better at having a better starting point. I think when you're going from topic to topic to topic, you almost forget who you talk to all day long, and you're like, hey, weren't you a part of that conversation? You probably do it with your spouse, you know. Didn't I tell you this already?
Yep.
But
Oh, yeah,
you
a million
told 10
times.
other people.
Right.
but
Or
not
it's been
them.
in my head. I tend to do that. Like, I've learned that I do that, like, where I feel like I've told him a million times.
Uh-huh.
But really, it's just my head, like, yelling at him again, like, why didn't you do that? And then it's like, oh, maybe I haven't even told him yet about it.
And then that reality of, I guess I'm not as good at communicating
You're right,
as I
maybe.
thought I was.
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like over time and in life, you know, the better I start communicating. I think that's with anybody. You just learn how to communicate differently to make sure.
You do. And, you know, reading the room, you know, I think you definitely have to be aware of
Your surroundings and who you're with and
you
your
know,
audience.
that not everybody's coming from where you're coming from.
Interesting.
And so you're like, oh, well, from that expression, I'd say I missed something. So let me back up.
And if you could go back and tell your 20-year-old self something, some
I wouldn't
advice.
have listened.
So there's nothing you could have even told yourself because you would have listened.
I feel like everybody tried to warn me that was my age now. Talking to me was like, you know, enjoy every moment or make the most or don't sweat the small stuff. All those things they tell you, they're true, but you're 20 and you're thinking, I got this.
You think you know everything too at that age,
Oh,
right?
yeah, you're invincible. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think so. Anything's possible then.
Absolutely. And what does the word influential mean to you?
It doesn't have to be one word, right?
It could be whatever you would like it to be, Barb.
Let's see. Influential. I think influential is somebody who makes a difference in somebody else's life for the positive.
That is so true. I think that's a good way to put it. And you and so many others within all the stations, all of your crew, I want to say thank you for making that positive difference. Thank you for keeping our community safe. Thank you for keeping our children safe. Just thank you for the work you do because I'm sure a lot of on the daily you feel like it gets unnoticed. But it truly does make a difference in our community. We could not have our safety and our lives and everything we do without all of you. So thank you for making a positive difference. Thank you for being a strong woman and having the position you do through hard work and just being you. I mean, it's very empowering. It truly is.
Well, thank you. I mean, the department's made up of great people. And they love what they do. And they are positive. And they love helping the community. And so it's easy to be in this position and have somebody say thank you to me in my department. But they make up all that positivity with what they do every day and showing up for work, trying to make a difference. So,
of course, she's in a leadership position. Listen to her. She puts it right back on our team. And I know it is a big department team thing. It's a big thank you, too, for your leadership.
Well, I appreciate it. And what you're doing. Especially, I mean, this building's amazing if anybody gets to see it. But
yeah, come by, wake up. We are the oldest building in Pueblo. Hopefully, we're up to fire code while she's here.
I did not check the extinguishers.
They are. We're actually up to code. We've had somebody stop by, but yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, you guys are doing a great thing.
Well, thank you. And make sure you like and share this podcast so many others can tune in. And thank you again, Barb, for being on the Influential Women podcast. That's a wrap.
Thank you.
Yeah.